Hello and welcome back to a No Pants Profit. Richard here, sitting still with a No Pants, and we've got a brand new Robinhood IPO for you today. Just popped up in my app. You should probably get a notification a bit later in the day if this all works out correctly. It is called Expensify. And I have just opened up the documents. I have taken a 2-second look at what the company does. It seems to be like a Concur, like a travel app, but I've not dug into anything, not even read Robinhood's description, just a quick Google of their website. So Expensify is going to go, they're saying, between $23 and $25, and it will be doing its IPO not this week, which is November 1st, but next week, November 10th. So middle of the second week of November, Expensify will be doing their IPO. And as strange as it sounds, I'm just going to start with a commercial they put out. They don't seem to be that old of a company, just looking at their YouTube channel. Let's read this description real quick. Then I do have a commercial pulled up for their actual, they don't actually have a lot of a cloud-based expense management software platform for small and medium businesses. If you remember, if you look back to SMBS in the NerdWallet we did, small and medium business that offer invoices, pay, travel reimbursement, receipt scanning. So yeah, it is kind of like any of those other apps that actually do that. So I'm sure they're going to bring them in as competitors and talk about how it interfaces. But this is an ad I found on their YouTube channel. This is just kind of an introduction. It's a music video from a group called 2 Chainz, and it's on Spotify, and it's called Expensify This. So it seems like they had a rap group to do that. I'm going to play this real quick.
Whip too refined for the horsepower. Gotta running off a seafood tower. Know that I'm here for a reason. Car so cold that it's sneezing. Day in the life of a baller.
Mr. James.
Day.
Hi. Record label finance. Listen, I'm gonna need paper receipts for everything in this video if you want to get reimbursed.
Nah, I have Expensify for that.
What?
Skirt. Cause I had to snap it with Expensify. My garage abracadabra. Ice whip 2 cheeks that look like Cleopatra.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll look at Expensify. We're gonna say I'm interested. We're not gonna choose. So when you do this in the Robinhood IPO, you say, hey, I'm interested, and I'll just say I agree, and we'll determine at the end how many shares I want to get. It's going to tell you how allocation works. Choose a market price. Right now, for giggles, we're just going to put in 1 share before we go and review the documents right now. So I'm going to switch back over to the web browser. We're going to look at their website, which is doing all kinds of trippy stuff, changing colors and everything like that. But this is Expensify, and you can sign up with email, Google, Apple. Let me go ahead. I'm going to turn off the screen real quick just so I can sign in with my with Google. Let me sign in with Google real quick. And let's see how this works. All right. I'm going to go back to the browser. I think generally you have to really be hooked up to a corporate account for this to really do anything. So you'd have to make a new expense. You'd manually create, scan receipt, create multiple time. You can do driving expenses as well. We can look at different reports. Again, it looks very similar to Concur, I think is one I've used before. Yeah, so this is SAP. This is Concur. I do have experience with this application for business expenses, for flight expenses, for things like that. SAP is a huge company. So I see this as their main competitor. We've not even dug into their S1 yet, but this is just going to give you an idea. If they don't mention SAP and they don't mention Concur, that's because they're afraid of them. So I think that's an important thing to really figure out. So we go cloud-based expense management software. This is from MarketWatch. Cloud-based expense management software, Expensify to raise up to $242.5 million in planned IPO. Plans to offer 9.7 million shares priced at $23 to $25 each on the NASDAQ under EXFY. So let's just see. We don't want to spoil ourselves right here. The company had a net income of $14.7 million for the 6 months ended June, up from, wow, 3.5. Okay. So The Cliff Notes is they're making money, but what this channel is known for, what No Pants Profits is known for is, let's look at the boring form and try and make it interesting. So this is called an S1 document. When a company wants to go public, they file this document with the Securities and Exchange Commission. When they file this document with the Securities and Exchange Commission, this is kind of like an earnings report that a normal company would put out. This is like an earnings report, and it would kind of give the investors, or in this case, the S1 is a prospective investors, would give them an idea on what is going on in this company. They seem to be based in Portland, Oregon, which I really love Portland because they are sales tax free. They have free public transit and everything like that. I've been to Portland a few times. Really like that. Let's take a look. Expensify, Class A public stock, initial public offering, shares of Class A common stock in Expensify. We're offering blank number of shares. They're not sure yet between certain price and a certain price. We can actually give you that price. Let's see, between $23 and $25 according to Robinhood. The underwriters, this is actually a lot prettier than most of the S1s we've looked at. JP Morgan, Citigroup, Bank of America Securities. There's their logo. It's like a Simon game with one... there should be a red piece on the left here, but otherwise it kind of looks like a Simon game. Expensify, easy money. At Expensify, we're best known for making expense reports that don't suck. Again, this is their S1 filing for prospective investors. But we also make it easy to move and manage money in other ways. You can track expenses, pay bills, generate invoices, collect payments, plan... Oh, okay. Interesting. So they're going for more than just what SAP goes for with Concur. They're going for a bigger piece of the pony there. You know, you can track expenses, pay bills, generate invoices, collect payments, plan trips, manage company credit. It is kind of an incur. But Expensify is easy money. Oh God, I think we already have the title for the episode. Expensify is easy money. We're an ambitious group, and what it means, and that means big goals, big extravagant goals, wild, sometimes crazy goals. Goals are tricky things, though. Attempting to do anything means sacrificing something. Maybe the security of a predictable future, maybe other worthwhile goals, or maybe just the time and energy spent pursuing something of value. We are pursuing these 3 life goals: live rich, have fun, save the world. Oh God, another sustainability play. Saving the world. They're a public company that wants to make money. Remember, anytime a company tells you a line like this, number one thing, shareholder wealth. Anything other than shareholder wealth is a goddamn lie. Shareholder wealth comes before saving the world. That's why Apple gives a dividend. Yes, they have green technology, but they give a dividend. We embody these core values: talent, ambition, and humility. One of their most defining all I care about is numbers, but I want to get an idea on the company. One of the Expensify's most defining characteristics is our genuine desire to build an organization that improves with age forever like a fine wine. Oh, God. But given the short-term perspective of the rest of the industry, accomplishing this long-term results in going beyond simple industry best practices. Do they make money? Rather, it requires ongoing commitment to core qualities. Oh, look! And we do this by... I like this company. We do this by following 2 rules. Get shit done, and don't ruin it for everyone else. So at Expensify, we believe great things happen when talented, ambitious, and humble people collaborate today on intermediate over... Even if our individual ambitions differ, our shared values allow us to debate, collaborate, and solve problems as a team. One-tap expense reports. Now, we took a look at this on the web a few seconds ago. Again, I'm not part of an organization that uses Expensify, so I'm not going to really use this, but I might set up an organization to play with it. One-tap expense reports. Again, very similar. I'm just going to say this is what I know. This is the industry standard, is Concur. This looks very similar to Concur. And how snap a photo of your receipt, SmartScan automatically captures all the details in an expense report. Again, not really sure how it differs. Okay. This is where it starts to get interesting. They have a business credit card that looks like a game of Simon. I mean, most businesses are going to use an Amex corporate card or something like that. They are positioning businesses to use this card that looks like a 5-year-old painted it. And it's actually funny. I know a D. Barrett. Just swipe your Expensify card and your expenses are gone. No receipts required. Even better, with every purchase we donate to Expensify.org on your behalf, which is their charitable organization, or let's be completely honest, it's their write-off. If they give the money away, they don't pay the money in taxes, so it's their write-off. So again, their goal is easy money. Easily manage your money in our pre-accounting platform. Does expense management. You have the card. We've talked about that. You can send. So this is where it starts to differ from a Concur. You know, you can actually pay your vendors and do your invoices. So this is kind of Concur from SAP. Mix it a little bit into it. Concur has the flight stuff in it. And then you can also do personal payments. So yeah, it's kind of like if Concur from SAP had a baby with Intuit. This is what it's looking like so far. Who owns Intuit owns TurboTax and owns all those business accounting software things. They have a lounge for some reason. Okay, so H1 of 2021, they had 60% revenue growth with nobody flying. Q2 2021 annualized revenue 144 million. We've got a gross margin of 76%. Again, they lost money. Net loss fiscal year 2020 1.7 million. That's actually not that bad. Average paid members 639,000. Net seat retention. I want to read. So there's some little asterisk. Let's read the ones that are interesting. So net seat retention. What the heck does that mean? Calculated as of December 31st, 2019, due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, customer retention, as our customers ceased or paused operations and scaled back usage of our platform, and the business travel, other expenses declined. Calculated by using the number of paid member seats from companies who have ever had 5 or more paid members paying for subscription during the period ending 1 year prior, as the denominator, and the number of paid member seats of those same companies during the most recent period. That's some funky math. Basically, they made that up to make it look good for COVID. I want to see going forward. Glassdoor ratings. So they are talking about Glassdoor is a website that kind of ranks companies. So they're saying their employees love them because they get shit done. I'm just taking it right from the S1, not making that one up. They have annualized revenue per employee of over $1 million. So they must not have many employees. Prospectus summary. Expensify is a cloud-based expense management software platform that helps smallest to largest businesses simplify the way they manage money. Every day, people from all walks of life and organizations around the world use Expensify to scan and reimburse receipts from flights, hotels, coffee shops, office supplies, and rideshare. Since our founding in 2008, we have added over 10 million members to our community and processed and automated over 1.1 billion expense transactions. So 2008, so they're around for 12, 13 years. Freeing people to spend less time managing expenses and more time doing what they love. They had, for the quarter that ended June 2021, so that quarter, they had an average of 639,000 paid members across 53,000 companies and over 200 countries and territories, so it is more than the U.S., and it probably handles more than just U.S. dollars. SMBs are the cornerstone of the digital economy. So yeah, when you're starting to go into Concur, you kind of have to be a large business. So they're looking at the small and medium businesses and kind of growing with you. Since the beginning of Expensify, our North Star has been improving the experiences of our actual end users for expense management software. Everyday employees. Yeah, when I was using Concur, this was back in the day, a couple years back, Concur is a PITA. Pain in the ass. It's not a very nice piece of software to use back in the day. Didn't have a nice phone app. Didn't have all those other funny things like that. Let me go ahead. We'll take a look at the phone app in a minute. Let me download the phone app real quick while I'm talking. So I've got the iPhone up. SPEN. SIFY. I also have an Android phone, but I choose to use the iPhone right now. Main reason I choose to use the iPhone right now is because I can get it real easy to the screen. So let's downloading that on the iPhone. Behind our platform is a company with passionate people, unique culture that guides everything we do. Okay. Here we go. Numbers. We believe our unique approach has created a highly scalable, efficient business model. We experienced rapid growth in recent periods. Our revenue was $80.5 million and $88.1 million in the years December 31st, 2019 and 2020, respectively. Our net income loss was $1.2 million and Okay, so they made in 2019, they made 1.2, and during the illness, the pandemic, they lost 1.7 million in the year after. Our adjusted EBITDA, 6 months ended June, our revenue was 40. Okay. Our net income was 3.5 million. Okay. So they're turning it around. They're making some money. They're not making much money. they're probably not making money to support a huge stock price, but you know, small and medium businesses are the bedrock of the global economy and have distinctive technology requirements. Again, you have something called a USP, or unique selling proposition, and they're trying to have a USP that is different than Concur. This is for gigantic businesses. Concur is designed for gigantic businesses. This is designed for small and medium businesses. Small and medium businesses rely on online channels for finding new technologies and heavily consider recommendations from experts, friends, and colleagues. Easy to implement. IT departments from the small and medium businesses are often one person or the business owner themselves, and they're incapable of taking the time away from their business to support cumbersome stuff. Yes. You know, that's every business manages expenses. Most do it manually. Yeah, the last few businesses I worked at, you got to bring it to the HR manager. You got to get your boss to sign off on it. It is a pain in the ass. Sorry, they already said they want to get shit done in their S1, so we're going for a PG-13 video here right now. Limitations of traditional approaches. What is a traditional approach? I hate to keep going back to this, but Concur, that's your main variable. And look, they have accounts payable, so it is directly a Concur. I didn't even see that. Concur expenses, Concur travel. It is Concur. I mean, it's Concur for mom and pops. You know, that's what this is. You know, existing solutions not designed for the employee, multiple product lines for different features, inaccurate receipt scanning, lack of purposeful automation, lack of integration with key systems and applications, partition database design. Okay, high cost of sale. You know, this is what they're trying to say. So here, if you take a look, they've built a mountain out of, well, they built a volcano. You know, essentially, let's look. You know, we've got the enterprise, we've got mid-market, we've got small medium business. So they're not going for the tip of that iceberg right there, the tip of that castle. They're not looking at the tip of that castle. They're not even looking at the mid-market. They're looking at that 12 billion small and medium business in the U.S. And you'll see the other ones are little tiny islands there. We believe we can address a massive opportunity that is under penetrated by modern solutions. We estimate our total addressable market was approximately 16 billion in the United States. And yeah, so they're combining everything below the snow caps there, if you do some quick math. We believe that there are multiple sources and upside of TAM in the near future. I assume TAM is total expense management or traditional. Let's see. Yeah, it's saying they're TAM core demographics. Okay. So monetizing transaction on our platform expansion, continued international expansion. So they're trying to go to international. I just want to see something. Where is SAP? I don't think they're okay. Yeah. So SAP, who runs Concur, is based in Walldorf, Germany. So it is a since then it's grown from a small 5-person endeavor to a multinational enterprise. So they're going international. SAP, which owns Concur, which in my opinion is who they're kind of going after, is international as well. Our approach, platform strategy, hyper-focused on the employee. So this is almost like, I think the most similar thing that they're trying to do, they're trying to become a Paycom. If you've ever used Paycom or looked at Paycom, they are a public company now, I believe. But, you know, Paycom is, instead of you having to go to the HR manager and give all your documents for paperwork and do all your orientation and sign all your non-disclosure agreements, a lot of companies are using Paycom now because Paycom is based on putting the employee first. So platform strategy, hyper-focused on the employees, viral bottom-up business model driven by the employee. Our employee-focused platform strongly enables a viral bottom-up adoption cycle that starts with the individual employee after signing up for free on the website, downloading our free... Oh, that's interesting. So if you remember, we actually signed up, and the idea is we sign up, we log our expenses as an individual, then the goal is that the individual is going to go to their employer and say, hey, I like this better than this garbage app we're using or filling in a Google Sheet or anything like that. So they're letting people sign up for free. That's why I was able to sign up for free right here and, you know, make an expense report for all these different things, and I can go ahead and I can add an expense at the top of this report. Let's go ahead and so we can just add that. So the idea is I can add an expense and I could say Starbucks. coffee company, and I spent $6.66. Reimburse, and let's say it was travel. Attendees was me, because that's all I have, and had a coffee. Save. There's my expense report. Had a coffee for $6.66. Then I can send that to my boss and do that. So the idea is that someone can do this on their own and then send it to their boss. So they have an interesting entry strategy, because when you're looking at something like SAP or any of these bigger boys, they are entering by the main company purchasing what's going on. Built for everyone. We designed our platform to be used by everyone in an organization. I'm looking to see if I got a receipt here that we can get paid back for. Yeah, okay. I got something. We will. Let me make sure there's nothing crazy there. Yeah, maybe we can add that receipt. Built for everyone, easy to set up, designed to improve experiences for all members. Our business model, our platform strategy, highly integrated. So everything is linked together. Our culture at Expensify, our culture is, okay, live rich, have fun, get shit done, don't ruin it for everyone else. Our competitive strengths, hyper focus. Okay, so their goal is a hyper focus on improving the lives of their members. That's kind of what they're looking at. Again, I'm looking for a receipt that we can use. Okay, yeah, this looks to be a good receipt. That's their focus is hyper growth on their members and everything like that. Growth strategies. Build new features that create additional value for existing members. Build new features that attract new members beyond employees who submit expenses. Because again, this is a play on the employee. That's their funnel. Their funnel was getting Joe from sales team that's filling out Excel sheets for his boss to do this instead. Build viral loops in our member experience that increase adoption by new customers, expand and monetize transaction volume, promote the core values of getting shit done. I do like that. The voting trust, risk factors. Let's blame COVID. This is coming if you've watched enough of these videos. The COVID-19 pandemic has materially adversely affected and may continue to materially adversely affect our business and our ability to grow, whether or not a result of the COVID-19 pandemic or a general economic downturn. People ain't flying, people ain't using hotels, people ain't doing that kind of stuff. So when you're paying for seats for an expense reimbursement program, people got to use that expense reimbursement program, Oh, look, we may fail to accurately predict optimal pricing strategies, but here we go. Remember what we were saying about SAP? We face significant competition. The market in which we operate is rapidly evolving, and if we do not compete effectively, our results of operations and financial condition will be harmed. We depend on a senior management team as well as a single professional services firm for a significant portion of our finance function. The loss of any key employee could be outsourced. Okay, a failure to protect our site's network. Again, if we get hacked, our business depends on a strong brand. If they don't have that brand of Expensify, then we manage our technical recent developments to forward-looking statements, preliminary Okay, here we go. So we're going to take a look. This is their consolidated financial. This was done by public accounting firm Ernst & Young LLP. So it is a large firm. It's one of the big four firms. So our independent registered public accounting firm Ernst & Young has not audited or reviewed. That's on these financial results for the fiscal quarter. They have the last year. But let's just see our preliminary. Oh, there's nothing there. We might have to look at another period. They don't have their data yet. Okay, they are an emerging growth company, which means they're not going to be as strongly regulated as larger companies that are in there. But it does look like their accountants Ernst & Young. Let's see if we can find some more financial statements below, because we've read the... Okay. So, year 2019. They made some money, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, they made some money in 2019. They lost some money in 2020. They made some money in this current 2021 as well. So also another thing, I did just look at this. It's kind of interesting. They are big enough, when I was downloading the app, they are big enough that people are purchasing ads against them. When you search Expensify, there is a thing called Receiptless for small and medium business expense tracker. Probably a lot cheaper. Let's see if we can take a look at their pricing. Ability in-app purchase. So they are, so they're a direct competitor, but I don't think they're going on the stock market anytime soon. Those are probably just some people that built an app, you know. So if we take a look here, let's see. Balance sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet. So they are losing money from the January 1st of 2021 to the June 30th, 2021, because it seems like travel's not really come back. So this is really a bet. This is a bet on, well, okay, here we go. Margin. You know, that'll show you their different margins. Their margins are looking good. But this is a bet on whether business travel comes back. This is kind of an anti-Zoom bet. You know, that's the whole idea. Identify levels of a platform and other things like that. Let's just see. Yeah, this is an anti-Zoom bet. The ability to retain customers, annual subscriptions. Their whole game is subscriptions. Subscriptions. So we'll see what Expensify costs in a minute. Convert individuals and organizations use... Okay, here we go. Convert individuals and organizations using our free features to... not free features. That is the goal, is getting the people that are using their free stuff. Where's it? Convert individuals and organizations using our free features or trial subscriptions into paying customers. So it's a freemium application. Again, the COVID-19 pandemic has materially affected and may affect our business ability to grow because people ain't traveling for business. So this is actually an interesting... COVID is over, Zoom is not going to succeed bet. I am personally a believer that most business travel is now going to die because Zoom is kind of taken over what's going on there. So I think that most business travel is going to fizzle out because I personally think that Zoom is we may not successfully develop so this is their risk. If you remember, we always talk about what we believe their risks are, but you know, we may have gotten bad pricing. We may have not successfully had new features. We face significant competition. Concur. I hate to keep going back to this, but this is the gold standard. So if you want to look at what they can be in a few years, Concur may be an interesting place to look. There's a number of competing... Oh, look. In addition, there are a number of competing companies that provide traditional horizontal platforms with expense management features, some of which have substantially greater revenue, personnel, and other resources than we do, such as Intuit, call that one, Oracle, NetSuite, I didn't call that one because I don't use that one, SAP AG, Concur, and Workday. These firms have historically targeted primarily large enterprise customers. Most of them also market to small and medium businesses in search of growth in revenue or market share. We also face competition from a growing number of other businesses offering expense management solutions and corporate cards, including Bento, Bex, Divvy, Emburse, Expensia, Phil, Happy Day, Pleo, Ramp, Spendesk, I've heard of that one, Travel Bank, Web Expenses, Zoho Enterprise, I've heard of that one. That is part of, that is a Salesforce competitor, Zoho. Our smaller competition who currently focus on small and medium businesses may be better positioned than large competitors to increase their market share, whether they're by competing on price, service, or otherwise. Increased competition may impact our ability to add new customers at rates we have historically achieved. Remember, though, these big boys, the Oracle, the SAP, and the Workday and Intuit, are going to the head of finance at these companies and saying, hey, we've built a better mousetrap. The little guys here, you know, they have to go for the employee because a lot of them can't get to the head of finance there. So they kind of have to go to the employee side of things, you know. Additionally, it is possible that large enterprises with substantial resources that operate in adjacent accounting firm finance or compliance focus may decide, may decide to pursue expense management automation to become intermediate significant competitors. Mergers and acquisitions, they're saying that, you know, hey, I might want to buy this because SAP or Oracle or Intuit or someone there is going to purchase it, you know. So it could be an acquisition play. Let's see what else we've got there. Impose additional reporting. We depend on the senior management team as well. We talked about that. We rely on a single third-party vendor issuing bank. Okay. So their credit card is pretty tied up in a single member. It's a third-party vendor called Marqeta. Let's see. I want to look at that because that's a big, unique selling proposition. Marqeta. Marqeta is a payment platform. So this is who's actually running their credit card in the background. It's a card issuing that empowers innovators to change the world. Let's just see. Okay, they're already okay. So this is how Uber and Square and DoorDash are paying their people. It's kind of a white label credit card that you can put your logo on. You know, that's the idea of Marqeta. It does look like a white label credit card. It does look pretty company why Marqeta, about us. Let's just see if they're going to say who they're already with. Yeah, Uber, Square, Instacart, Brex, DoorDash. I don't think that what's the name of this company again? Expensify is big enough to really show up on that document. But that is interesting to know. You know, Marqeta, who manages the Expensify card, also manages the relationship with the card's issuing bank, Sutton Bank, which I think is a pretty big one. I think that Sutton Bank does a lot of, you know, white label credit cards, meaning that you put your own name on it, and it's, yeah, this is kind of a blank check bank. So Casa Checking, again, this is kind of a blank check bank. So essentially what they're doing is they're partnering with a blank check credit card company and a blank check bank and Visa to put their logo on there, you know, consideration for a 3-year term expiring in June 2022 and automatically renews unless so they got 90 days to find someone new if one of those parties gets angry at each other. They put it as a risk. It's the thing. I don't really think that's that big of a risk. That company does white label credit cards. Expand our sales and market. Okay, we continue to make substantial investments and expenditures related in the growth of our business. This seems very similar to NerdWallet. You know, they're spending a lot on IT to make things better than the other people, and that's going to wind up hurting the stock price overall. But remember, it is a tech company, and tech companies, Uber, Lyft, Tesla, tech companies can trade at good values even if they're not making money because they're looking at forward-looking statements. So, customer experience. If we don't provide good customer service, our business and reputation will suffer. We must continue to have high qualified personnel. Again, they're all fighting for the same people. We fail to manage our growth. Our payment services Expensify cards are targets for illegal or improper uses. Hey, credit card numbers get stolen. If we experience extensive fraudulent activity, we can incur substantial costs. Okay. Sales to customers outside the U.S. and our international operations expose us to risk inherent to international sales and operations. Our revenue generated from customers outside of the United States was $7.6 million, 9% of our revenue. So it's not huge, you know. So they have a good ability to grow there. They have difficulties in staffing and managing foreign operations. Face exposure to foreign currency. Are they going to transact in Bitcoin? That's a foreign currency that's actually become pretty stable, right around $60,000 a coin right now. So from the crypto space, could be interesting. Changes in laws and regulations. We fail to manage our technical operation structure. If you know anything about Amazon, they run the back end. They run a lot of the backbone of the internet, AWS, as well as Azure. And there was an issue about 1.5 years ago where someone put an extra comma somewhere and it took down the internet. So, you know, that's what they're saying. And everybody puts pandemics and endemics there now. I wasn't really looking at S1s before that, but it's kind of interesting how it's literally there everywhere. We rely on third parties. So there's a lot of stuff that they're saying, we could die from this, but it's not ours. You know, Karma Points, trademark. Okay, so they're buying some different trademarks. We rely on our trademarks and trade names. So they occasionally trademark offices take a view of certain trademarks, including SmartScan, are merely descriptive and not inherently protectable. So they have SmartScan, Karma Points. They have all these things they're using in the U.S. that they have to kind of get registered on an international scale. So they've got a lot of things in the U.S. Our employees, commercial partners may engage in misconduct. Nothing really crazy there. Okay. I don't really... That's just talking about common shareholders and stockholders and everything like that. All right, so this is another one that kind of really got hit by COVID, and they're trying to get a rebound going on there. Let's just use the proceeds. Okay. Let's see. What are they going to use the money for? We also intend the principal purposes of offering to increase our capitalization and financial flexibility and to create a public market for our common stock. We currently intend to use these net proceeds from the offering for general purposes, including working capital, operating expenses, and capital expenditures. We intend on using a portion of the net proceeds offering to pay discretionary cash bonuses. Ooh, they're going to give away $35 million of their $200-something million they raised to keep their employees around. That's one way to get shit done. I think that's the way to say it. Again, I'm just using their term there. Capitalization. Okay, we can take a look at that. I am going to leave that below. They don't plan to offer dividends. They are going to do some dilution to existing shareholders. Make the value a little bit less. Okay, selected financial data, and this should be audited by Ernst & Young. So we should see that there. We saw that earlier. So we'll see. They did make money some years. They did make money some years. So they are, well, they were profitable. They were profitable, total stockholder deficit. They were profitable before the pandemic. So before the pandemic, they were actually kind of profitable, and I think they're going to be very similar to NerdWallet that really got hurt. If you pay attention, if you didn't see it, I'll leave it at the end of this video because NerdWallet comes up later this week, and this comes up next week. You know, NerdWallet got really hit by business travel going away, and this is the anti-Zoom bet. You know, paid members and thousands. Oh, look, here's a growth thing. This is actually kind of cool. So you can kind of see their growth and their shrinkage. Because remember that March is where things started to get interesting. So really, you know, March, you can see the fall. Their top ever was 742. March 16th, 2020 was the pandemic day. Was when everybody didn't come back to work that Monday. So I do remember that day very vividly. It was a Friday. It was March 16th, 2020. And then if you look, the next quarter, the next quarter, the next quarter, the next quarter. So the question is, how long does it take them to get back to that 742? You know, they've got 639 paid members and thousands. How long does it take to get back to that 742? Kind of an interesting Expensify interchange amount, vendor fees. I am going to leave the link to this whole document below, but let's just see results of operations, total stock-based compensation, revenue. Their revenue went up in 2021, but I'm sure their cost went up as well. But they have a nice gross margin. They've got a lot of things going for them here. But again, it's the anti-Zoom bet. Are people going to travel? Are people going to go out for dinners? Are they going to do that? You know, how much do people want to work from home instead of actually traveling around? That's what you're betting on here. That's the true idea of what you're actually betting on here. So we can see okay, here we go. Quarterly results of operations. Here we go. So if we're looking at these, we can see loss, gain, gain. So you've got an overall gain there. Again, gain, loss. Okay. So they're making money. I like it. And, you know, the quarter, June 30th, 2021 is very similar to the quarter of December 31st, 2019. I know they're different times of the year. You know, you're trying to get more sales at the end of the year and stuff like that, but it's kind of interesting how they're going that way. Our cost of revenue net increased throughout all quarters of 2019, and the result of increased demand for our product and services. Decrease in receipts scanned by members due to lower travel expenses during the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in cost of revenue remaining relatively flat over the quarters presented. So people are not scanning the receipts as much. So they've made money. I think that's the important thing. They made money in the past. This is another, you know, kind of like Peloton is as well against the traditional gyms, but this is more of an anti-Zoom bet. Not much. They didn't take on much debt, so not a huge amount of debt. Not like the cruise lines or the airlines or anyone else like that. Common stock valuations, again, you can read that. Cash bonuses. Okay, here we go. Wow. So they would pay cash bonuses to each employees in a value that approximates the cost of each employee, excising 45% of their total stock options. They're trying to keep people around to get shit done. Let's see. I repeat, the next 100 years are going to be nuts. I like this CEO. The corporate card as a Trojan horse for charity. Again, they're trying to play the we're good for people angle. Live rich, have fun, save the world. What we've learned so far. Definitely, I would recommend having a breeze through this. This is page 110 or 109, where the letter from the CEO starts. It's not something I'm going to read in full right here, but kind of interesting. From the founder and CEO, we've got the business. We've kind of taken a look at what they do. I want to go ahead. I want to jump over to my expenses because I've got my Starbucks receipt here. Well, I've got a Costco receipt. I want to see how good the receipt scanning works on a receipt that's kind of gone not too good. So let's turn on the lights here. Whoop. Let's see if we can turn on the lights here. Give me a second. Let's come on. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. There we go. All right. So we're going to bring up the lights a little bit here. So we've got a way to take a look at the receipt here. And I just want to try and add a receipt that's been crumpled to hell. So if I'm going to scan this receipt, again, I'm playing worst case scenario right here intentionally. Let's see what it does. Smart scan in progress. This is some of their unique selling proposition that they're saying. So receipt scanning. Woohoo. It's going to upload that and hopefully it'll scan it in a few seconds time. Smart scanning takes a short while. Again, it's just got my gaming keyboard. It's got a really crumpled up receipt for some batteries that are back here. But it does have a total. It does have a total tax. It'd be very interesting to see what's going on right there. So it takes a short time. Give him a minute to do that. And let's talk about, we're going to see if that works, but let's jump back to Robinhood and talk about if we're going to be buying Expensify. So, Expensify. I like it. I think it's a great anti-Zoom play. Let's see what 100 shares are going to cost. Again, I don't think we're going to get all 100, but we've got the money. I'm going to buy 100 shares. Again, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm actually probably more unsure than sure that business travel is going to resume as it was before. But I'm going to put in for 100 shares. That might change as we get closer. I like it. I think it's interesting. It's going for, remember, where they differ from Concur, or where they differ from Intuit, or where they differ from what's the third one that we were talking about? Oracle, which runs NetSuite. They're all doing accounts payable. They're all doing travel, and they're all doing expenses. So I think the difference on where they kind of are right now is in relation to how they onboard new customers. Oh, and look, that actually worked. So if I go Costco, it's got the total receipt number. It did work. Total was $3,894. I don't know if we break down every single item. $3,894.73. Did it get it all right? Yeah, it did. And that receipt was kind of cut to hell. Kind of intentionally was cut to hell. Let's see. I can't see more options. Category car. Merchant Costco. Yeah, it got it. It got reimbursable. It did all those things right there. Were you wanting to add this to an expense report? I think it did quite a good job right there. But that's an overview of Expensify, which just came up on Robinhood IPOs. You can see I put in for 100 shares. You won't normally get 100 shares. The next process is they're going to allocate a certain number of shares to each person that requests. That's done the evening before. So just to give you a timeline on this. So next up is random allocation, expected on the 10th. It's going to give you a random allocation. You can change it. So it comes out on the 10th. So you're going to be able to change it up until midnight Eastern time on the 10th, which is the 9th. So let's say 11:59 p.m. on November 9th, which is 2 weeks from now. You can change what your thoughts are on if you want to get in or not. I'm going to do a little bit more research there. But overall, I like it. It's an interesting hedge against people, going back to flying. You know, people want their rewards points, people want their rewards miles. You know, I've traveled a lot with my family just on rewards that my family's gotten from traveling. I've always kind of worked remotely kind of wherever, so I'm not getting as many hotel rewards and things like that. But it's kind of an interesting proposition there. So this is Richard from No Pants Profits, giving you a bit of an overview on the IPO for the new stock Expensify. That's my overview. Bought some shares. I think that's where we are. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below, but I'm going to try and make one of these for every single one of the Robinhood IPOs as quick as possible. This is Richard from No Pants Profits, and remember, when you're wearing no pants, all you got left to lose is your shirt. See you around for the next IPO. Bye!